to meditating. Yeah, we coming for you, no hesitation. Might as well call the league up, tell them put the trophy on reservation. Been going up, that's elevation. No holding back, no preservation. Treat off season like postseason, no days off, this dedication.
Game time, don't expect us to play nice. We got plans to take every record home. One thing you should know is how to.
Yeah, you better go and start meditating. Yeah, we coming for you, no hesitation. Look. Yeah, no holding back, no preservation, no off days, this dedication. Game time, get out the way, we coming through. Check the hang time, been on top, ain't nothing new. A lot of talk, whole lot of noise, but ain't cutting through. Word on roll, you got a couple L's, you'll have another soon, don't sweat. Whole lot of sacrifice, no regrets. Whole lot of dubs, but ain't done yet. Say you the one, but ain't one yet. Running the game, ain't take one step. Hold up. Yeah, all emotions aside. There's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. How you gon' play when the game on the line?
Game time, don't expect us to play nice. We got plans to take every record home. One thing you should know is how to.
Yeah, you better go and start meditating. Yeah, we coming for you, no hesitation. Look. Yeah, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. How you gon' play when the game on the line? Came for the dirt, but it ain't no shame. Had to put the work in, grind day by day. All the blood, sweat, tears, no pain, no gain. I was ready for the moment and it came my way. Where the spotlight shine, where they say my name. It's the life I chose, the price I paid. A lot of sacrifices, every day I prayed. Hope it all pays off in the end. I'll play, I wanna win. Seen a lot of things, ain't been the same since. Worked too hard for this, yeah, I'm convinced. Been on the brink, yeah, been on the fence. Now I'm this close to the win, win, win. When the chance came, now I didn't turn back. Loyal to the city, put the team on the map. Up to the floor, start running up stats. Yeah, that's facts. Yeah, you better go and start meditating. Yeah, we coming for you, no hesitation. Look. Yeah, there's nowhere to run, there's nowhere to hide. How you gon' play when the game on the line?
You ready to rock? You ready to roll? I'm checking the clock. Just got in my zone. You ready to rock? You ready to roll? I'm checking the clock. Just got in my zone.
game now. Me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way. You wasn't invited. Say you come to play. I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me. Don't step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Yeah, yeah. Out of the way. Game now, me and you, we ain't the same now. Lions coming out to play now. Opposition out the way now. Out of the way, you wasn't invited. Say you come to play, I dare you to try it. You don't wanna try me, don't step up to my team. Yeah, out of the way, yeah, yeah. Out of the way, yeah, yeah. Out of the way.
Hello race fans and welcome to round 2 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship live here from Donington Park. We're underway for season 6 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, and well, Watkins Glen was not without incident to say the least. Very much a bruising encounter for many of our drivers, but here we go racing again at Donington Park here in beautiful England. My name is Peter Mackay and joining me as always Chaz Draycott. Chaz, we had an eventful evening 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, to say the very least.
We did, Peter, and we expected it to be fair as well for the start of the championship. Everybody's just getting used to things again. Everybody's settling back in, and it was really exciting to watch at the same time, let's not forget. But yes, there was quite a lot of drama, quite a lot of chaos, but that's always fun though, because it shakes up the order for us. We don't know what to expect at every meeting going forward from that point, and it means that some people that could be championship protagonists are on the back foot from the very beginning. So we're going to start to get into our stride a little bit here at Donny tonight, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too as well. And we come out of the first round with two quite unexpected championship leaders in the respective Pro and Am classes. Starting with, we'll come on to the championship points in a moment, but this is how our schedule looks like. 8 races at some classic circuits. We kicked off 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen, here today at Donington Park, but just look at the run of circuits we're going to go to. Sebring, Imola, Road Atlanta, then to the high banks of Daytona, Oulton Park, one of the finest in the world, and then finishing off at Le Circuit de la Sarthe, Le Mans. What a way to finish off this series here. 8 rounds across 16 weeks here on RaceSpotTV. Championship-wise, well, we come away from round 1 with a little bit of a surprise leader. Carl Sharkey winning at race 1, and a good finish in race 2 puts him 2 points ahead of Christian Saruta, the top qualifier from pre-season qualifying. Then it's Chris Bynum in 3rd, Austin Greatorex in 4th, and Stuart Clark sits in 5th position. In the AM standings, well, another surprise leader in there. It's Ryan Penny. After a superb performance, he takes an 8-point advantage over Stephen Kershaw into the second round of the series. Fausto Pinto sits in 3rd, with Danny Jones in 4th, and Andrew Shepherd rounding out the top 5, with Drew Fletcher, Ralph Mayer Andrew Soper, David Patching and Amrik Sashdev rounding out the top 10 in the AM standings. So the drivers have got about 7 minutes left in this practice session as well, and regular viewers of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, if you're new to this season, you will notice in just a moment that we have a new car for the racers to play with. It's not new to the iRacing platform, but new to the Porsche Club of Great Britain. It's the ultimate 911 racing car of the modern era, the Porsche 911 RSR. Built to global GTE and GTLM regulations, it is an absolute monster. 500 horsepower, huge aerodynamic grip. Does have traction control, but no ABS. A proper beast of a car, and the drivers, they're loving it so far, Chaz.
Yeah, and aren't we as well? The sound that this thing makes, revving to 9,500 RPM through those shortened rear exhausts. Of course, they've not got long to travel once they get out of the engine, and they certainly do scream that noise out the back end. I remember when they first put those sort of 0.2 exhausts on this thing at Le Mans, and everybody was bewildered by the fact that it made a Corvette sound quiet, and that's probably one of the loudest race cars we've ever seen as well. But this is just absolutely awesome stuff to watch, and well, you can see already Christian Saruta pushing a little bit too hard there up McLean's, and it's easy to do that. It's easy to push too hard at Coppice as well. But again, we're at a high-speed circuit tonight here, Peter, and I think that's going to be really exciting because, well, these cars really suit that environment, but that's where they tend to let go as well out of the blue. So I think it's going to be intriguing to see who can manage it the best.
Yeah, it's a seriously sophisticated car, this machine, and yeah, you really have to push to get the very best out of it. That high aerodynamic performance. You see, look at the size of the rear diffuser underneath the wing there, and this version of the car, the engine was shunted much further forward than you would expect in a 911 to get that rear diffuser in there as well. And it really is something, if you look at the very latest GT3R, which is one below this car, it's got a seriously large rear diffuser as well. So that often the developments on the RSR make their way onto the next generation of GT3R. So at the moment, top of the timesheets is Austin Greatorex by a tenth of a second from Christian Saruta. Johnny Cullen in third, with James Cummings in fourth position at the moment. The top four covered by just 0.3 of a second. Austin Greatorex going for a slightly different paint scheme this week. He's got the Lego Technic paint scheme, it looks like, Chad.
Yeah, this was a livery, I believe, similar to one that was done for Coanda with their Porsche effort actually during the World Championships. They actually had a merger with Lego, and they did this absolutely epic livery, and I think others thought, right, we need to do that as well. And they've, well, now put it on the RSR. It was originally on the, I think it's on the 991 Cup car, and then moved over to the 992 Cup car. But either way, it looks absolutely awesome. And it's great that a livery like that you would see in the real world and think, yeah, that's really cool. It translates so well onto the sim version of the car as well, because sometimes when you do get these unique liveries in the real world, they don't quite look as good on the actual sim. But yeah, I think in this case, that is mega. And of course, it follows the Porsche factory colours that the RSR came out in the first time round. And look at the speed of it through that chicane. I've stood on the inside of that chicane where our camera was placed there. And cars do look like they're going quick through there, but I don't think I've ever seen a car go through the chicane that quickly.
Well, this is one of the cool things about the virtual world. The Porsche 911 RSR has never raced here at Donington Park. It has at Watkins Glen, where we were 2 weeks ago. And it certainly has at Sebring, where we'll go in 2 weeks' time, but never here at Donington Park. But it's a very cool combination, particularly going down the Craner curves, where aerodynamic performance is really, really helpful, giving you that grip and that trust in the car as you fly down that helter-skelter section. And the corner speed you can carry with the RSR compared to the other 911 race cars is quite profound. Much more grip from that aerodynamics, and they're down the Craner curves and down towards the old hairpin. The drivers can really push down there as well. So car number 6, that is Johnny Elia. He at the moment sitting outside of the top 5 in the Pro Class Championship. Not the ideal start to the championship. However, there was many high-profile drivers, Chaz, who came out of last week with not very much to show for it.
No, and well, that's it. I think it's tough at the start of a season. I mentioned before about being on the back foot in the early stages, and it's really going to have affected a few drivers, having such a rough week to get things underway. But that's what really sort of gives us the opportunity to spot these incredible comeback drives and these performances from drivers where they're on the back foot to begin with, but they overcome that. And I always say that in motorsport, one of the best things you can see is a driver that's fallen behind slightly and then had to get over it and crack on. And we're going to see a lot of that from a number of the drivers this evening, because they have the first opportunity now to turn around any bad luck they had in the first round. It's nice to see the Grand Prix circuit getting used as well, isn't it, rather than that final chicane. It's not everybody's favourite in the world, and it's not the biggest section to add onto this track. It was actually made originally for Formula 3000, I believe, was that part of the circuit. But I quite like it, It's a very, very difficult part to get right, especially in a car like this as well, with no ABS as it gets down to the bottom of the hill.
I think also it was added to bring Grand Prix motorcycle racing to the track as well. And
yes.
Probably indeed Formula 1 also. That's probably where the F3000 comes in as kind of the step up to F1. But it was added. Certainly the Grand Prix riders, when they first came here, they hated it because Eddie Lawson called it the parking lot section. But actually, it's a really good opportunity to get a pass done. Do not be surprised to see some. As Chris Byram, the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is.
Oh my lord!
That's not so fresh.
No, that's I've given up.
He got in a fight. His mum is going to be very scared about that after getting in that fight with the wall.
Oh, flipping out. Well, smell you later, Chris. Unfortunately.
Yes, 15 all.
Unfortunately for him, that looks like his session is over, and you can still see
your home to Bel-Air after that.
I wonder what his uncle's called. Anyway, we've got Zaruta now coming up to Coppice. And I think after that, actually, we've got a name for the car. What was it we called? Was it, we had... Oh, who was it? Christian's got the purple GT3. What do we call it? Was it Gertrude or something?
Lady Beauregard.
Yes, Lady Beauregard.
Violet Beauregard, the from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
A little brat. We're going to call Chris Byram's car Jazzy Jeff.
Yes, we are.
Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff. Yes, definitely.
Oh, phenomenal. But that was definitely just him giving up on that lap, though, wasn't it? I'm afraid. He realised that he wasn't going to improve and just threw it at the scenery.
It was, yes, which, again, you can do without consequence here in the sim as well. As that would be an expensive thing to do in a real-life RSR. £1 million for an RSR, when you could buy one. They're out of production now, but you could buy one for that. Qualifying is underway. 10 minutes the distance here for the drivers to put in their qualifying times. And out they go.
I was going to say I'd be worried about the headlights at the cost, to be honest with you. We went over this, didn't we? $5,000, was it?
I listened back to it. $5,000 each.
Oh, my God.
Per headlight. Yes, I listened back to the interview with Richard Tuthill. Yeah, $5,000 each for the headlight.
Oh, Lord. And you've got to use special software to turn them on?
Yes.
Something like that?
Yes. You don't just put the bulbs in. You couldn't get them fitted at the local Halfords, mind you. You couldn't get headlights on a Volkswagen Golf fitted at your local Halfords. Yeah.
Well, certainly these drivers will not be getting too close to one another, or at least they can do in the sim, I should say. They don't need to worry about getting too close. Here's Paul Goffin in the Sim Racing Magazine branded machine. The lovely yellow, black and white car making its way down the hill now. Almost looks like the old sort of Newman Porsche livery that got a sort of workover, doesn't it? I love that.
It looks just like the Newman. That's what I was just thinking, that the Newman Yost Porsche 962, which that car, do you know who owns that car now?
Not a clue, my friend.
Alex Lynn's dad, John.
Really?
Yes, he also owns the Bentley Speed 8 as well.
Oh God.
Yeah, and various others. Yes, yeah. He's got quite a collection. Yeah.
Oh my Lord! I don't know why I didn't tell you this. I'm going to say this live on air now. But I've stood within about 6 feet of Mr. Rattel's car collection. When we went to Paul Ricard at the end of last year, I forgot to tell you about this.
Okay.
But some of the stuff in there, I ended up on the floor, basically. I nearly passed out when I saw that collection. I'll have to tell you what's in it later because it's a big secret, apparently.
Oh.
But, yeah, I will. I'll go over that with you. We were told not to take pictures.
Okay. Well, I'm very excited. I'm very excited now. Yes. I've heard reliably that a Toyota GT1 is going to be at Le Mans Classic this year.
Oh, Lord.
Spoke to the new owner of it. There's 4 of them in the world. 3 of them are owned by Toyota. He's got the last one.
Oh, my life.
Yeah.
Well.
So looking forward to seeing that careering down the Mulsanne Straight. Yeah, I know. And there's going to be a proper driver in it as well.
Oh, good. Well, that's the thing. It's a shame sometimes. You know, no disrespect to any drivers that this may sound like I'm hinting at, but when you've got a car like that, you want to put one of the proper top-notch drivers in it rather than someone that's just got nothing to do that weekend. You know what I mean? Yeah. And get it used properly. Anyway, Paul Goffin's using his Porsche properly. He's looking quite good actually here, is Paul. It's been quite the tidy lap, to be honest. He is the first man to set a time. It's a 1:25.042, and now the times are going to fill the board, aren't they, Peter? Here we go.
They are, yeah. Top of the timesheets at the moment was Johnny Elia, but Paul Riga slams in a 1:24.210 to go to top of the shop. 0.08 of a second ahead of Elia. Byram in third, Byron Crawford in fourth, Rob Sharp in fifth, Tom Slater in sixth, Pete O'Connor in seventh, Goffin in eighth, Stuart Clark in ninth, and Oliver Carbadine rounds out the top 10 as the times come in thick and fast. Still no time yet from Johnny Cullen or Christian Cerruta. And indeed, Austin Greatorex not setting a representative time last time by, 1:27.5. He's got more in the tank there as Cullen goes to the top, 1:23.7, half a second quicker. Oh,
that is blistering pace, that by Johnny Cullen. We ride on board now with Austin Greatorex. Mentioned him just a moment ago through the chicane. It bounces one way then the other. That's wide. That might be an incident point, you know. Although he's carrying on with the lap, so I assume that he's okay and he's got away with it. We'll have to see. Nice and smooth into the hairpin. Really tucks it in as well. It's so easy to get on the power there very early. And look at Peter O'Connor as Cerruta goes fastest. There you go, 0.2 of a second quicker than Johnny Cullen. And look at this, Austin's lining up now to get a better run. He knows that lap was done with. And here he goes on to another one, Peter. But Peter O'Connor, 9th place outright, leading the AMs by a good few positions, now 10th. He's doing a great job, isn't he?
yeah, you bet he is. Yeah, Peter O'Connor in the 888 had up to 6th now. It goes O'Connor. Brilliant stuff. He had a great pace last week. Unfortunately, it didn't go his way in terms of points, but he had definitely had the front-running pace for the AMs last time. Johnny Cullen, I mean, spare a thought for Johnny, leading the first race by a postcode. He had half the distance of New York State as a lead, and an accident that happened in front of him took him out and had to fight back in race 2 on the reverse grid. And well, that was and he did very well to get the car up into the podium positions. So he'll be wanting to put that right today, and qualifying is going to be really important here, I think, Chaz. We've seen it be a bit of a mess going down to Craner curves. It's so narrow down there, and if one car gets on the grass, that's all it needs to turn it into an RSR-shaped bowling ball. And yeah, you want to be as far forward as you possibly can to avoid the carnage.
Well, hopefully nobody hits Austin Greatorex's car hard enough, or it'll just fall apart. But still,
how much are those stickers bothering you?
Oh, a lot. I was really, I was hoping you weren't going to mention that. I was just, I'm not going to go on that rant, but it's really upsetting me. I'm sat here clawing at my chair. But Austin's in a straight line on the right-hand side, and he does a very, very good lap time, which puts him 4th fastest at the moment at 1:23.79. But it's Johnny Cullen, Paul Riga, 2nd fastest at the moment. That'll give you confidence for the Daytona Classic, won't it, Peter? He's your teammate.
He is, yes. We're in the HPD. Cannot wait. I've asked Luke to do us an RS Spider replica paint scheme as well for that. But yeah, Johnny Cullen, what a lap. Just under 0.2 of a second at the moment. But can Christian Cerruta do anything about it? Car number 3, the Flying Bogey. He loves his bright coloured cars, his road car, of course, as we mentioned, GT3 RS. And you know, he's going to Le Mans in it this year with my brother-in-law.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's mint.
Yeah, there you go. It's cool, isn't it? Yeah, so Christian's going in the GT3 RS, and Hector, he's going in his Ferrari F12.
Oh, right.
And they're camping, so classic Le Mans, expensive cars and a tent.
Oh yeah, well that's the best thing though. You've got
Yeah.
to camp and really make the most of the weekend, haven't you? It's just lovely, lovely stuff, and it gets you out in the wild, and it's just it's a proper weekend. It really is. It's something I've wanted to do for a long, long time, and I still want to now. I just need to get the weekend off for it. But still, across the line goes Zaruta. Does he improve? He does. Second fastest. Look at that though, 58 thousandths, Peter. That's scary close.
That is very close. That puts Saruta up onto the front row of the grid, bumps Paul Riga back down onto the second row. But yes, only 0.2 of a second covering the top three. Let's see what James Cummings can do. His best so far, 124.2, so he's sixth at the moment. So let's see if he can improve on that. Just a couple of minutes left in this qualifying session. This will be a chance for Cummings to put himself a little bit further forward. He's on the third row at the moment. Out of the final corner he comes. Does he improve? 123. Just stops there, 124.9. So Cummings stays in sixth, but third row, good stuff there from James Cummings.
Yeah, he was really quick at Watkins Glen as well. It was mega to see, and he has been one of those drivers that's continuously improving, and it's really good stuff to watch. That was Carl Hazelton who we saw there. Carl not having the best qualifying at the moment, down in 29th place, but I imagine that Carl is one of those drivers. We all know that he's a very patient guy. He likes to take his time and move forward gradually under the radar. He races for real, so he knows what the scenario feels like in the real thing, and he applies that to his racing here on the sim as well. And hopefully I'll be seeing Carl over some point over the course of the year at Porsche Centre Chester, of course, the sponsor of the championship, as you see in the top right of your screen right now. James Cummings still out there on the track apparently, but I think he's not going to be able to get another lap in, is he? They only get the 3, and then that's it. So it's not going to count either way. Johnny Cullen's actually on a lap here, Peter. 2.8 laps completed so far, and he's done a purple sector 3.
Well, he's maybe about to turn the screw a little bit further on his competition here as well. He had such an edge on pace in race 1 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen. Let's see what he can do then in the 666 CXR racing machine. Gasses up the RSR up towards the line, and it's not an indicative time. So our grid looks just about set then as well. What a performance from Peter O'Connor as well. He's got ground to catch up though. He did do this last round 2 weeks ago. He had great pace, but both of the races did not go his way. Great opportunity for Peter O'Connor to catch up some points on his rivals.
Yeah,
You're watching
really
round 2 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain, live here from Donington Park, here on RaceSpotTV. It's Peter Mackay and Chaz Draycott in the commentary box for you. And we're just about to go racing for the first 15-minute sprint race here at Donington Park. And this is how they will roll off. Johnny Cullen and Christian Saruta on the front row of the grid, alongside Paul Riga and Austin Greatorex. Then it's Johnny Elia and James Cummings. Row 4 will be Peter O'Connor and Chris Byram, followed by Andrew Parker, Stuart Clark, Rob Sharp and Byron Crawford. Starting 13th will be Tom Slater, alongside Stephen Kershaw on row 7. Then it's Paul Goffin, Mark Johnson, Fausto Pinto and Oliver Carr-Woodine. Row 10 is Danny Jones and Drew Fletcher, with Heinz Meyer and Amrik Sastev making up the 11th row, with Mark Elvin and Gilles Gardner right behind. Row 13 will be David Patching and Andrew Marston, followed by Ralph Meyer, Andrew Shepherd, Carl Hazelton and Kim Such. 30 cars, your grid. And don't forget, a 20-car inversion, a 20-car reverse for the feature race a little bit later on. So if you can finish in that top 20, you're in the game for a good grid spot for race 2. If you're out of it, well, you've got 2 difficult days at the office. So the cars lining up on the grid. We had a standing start last time out, and I believe that is the plan for the rest of the season. Goodness knows how much a clutch is on an RSR, Chaz, but they're about to put them to the test here. Indeed, from a standing start, the revs rise, ready to run down towards Redgate for the first time. Off they go then. We're racing here at Donington Park, and straight away, we've got a car off. It's one of the Rothmans cars. As Saruta goes straight to the inside. What a dummy there as well. And he catches Johnny Cullen napping. Spinning for Greatorex. Paul Riga's got a good start there in third, but what a move that was from Christian Saruta.
I don't think it was fair to call Johnny Cullen a dummy, but it was certainly a brilliant move. Either
Call
way,
him the dummy.
it was Andrew Parker that went off, and there he is with damage. I think he got hit by Rob Sharp. Actually, Tom Slater's just gone off as well. There is the contact. It was Austin Greatorex, and there was another car dropping down as well, which was Byron Crawford. You'll see here, just don't think he gets the launch at all, or it doesn't go anywhere. And Rob Sharp classes into it. I think he might have done, either that or it just wouldn't change up. But look at that move by Saruta. Here's what happened to Greatorex. It goes to go down the inside and doesn't really leave the room for Johnny Elia. But then again, there wasn't much of an overlap. It wasn't like Johnny was late on the brakes. I just don't think Austin thought there was an overlap there.
Oh dear. Yeah, that was pretty low percentage move there from Elia in my book. So yeah, Greatorex will be pretty upset about that. Although this happened in race 1 last. Nearly a spin there for Paul Riga, kind of half spin, and that's allowed Elia to go by, who appears to have got away without too much damage from that contact with Greatorex. So Christian Saruta leads then from Johnny Cullen. Then there's a little gap back to Johnny Elia in the number 6 11/10th Racing Machine. Then it's Porsche Sports Paul Riga with James Cummings in the bright orange Calippo machine as Rob Sharp comes down pit road. Now he'll either be coming in for a fast repair or serving what is called the orange zone drive-through penalty. If you cause an incident in lap number 1, you must serve a drive-through penalty, and indeed it's the drive-through penalty. I'm surprised we didn't see Elia in.
Yeah, very true. I mean, the drivers have said that, play it safe even if you don't think you were to blame. Play by the orange zone rule and do come through the pits on the end of the first lap just to cover your backside. You may as well. And yeah, maybe Elia really wasn't confident in him being at fault there. So I think it is what it is really round turn 1. I think if we looked at it another angle, it might look completely different. You know what it's like, Peter. We can look at it umpteen different angles, and sometimes if we were on board with Elia, you might think, well, Austin's turned across us, or you look back from Austin, you think, where's Elia coming back from that far? It's just how it goes. We've had a few cars off though. Byron Crawford's had a number of moments on the opening lap. Andrew Marston's just been off and jumped back to the pits, but we've got a fantastic train going on here with Paul Riga in 4th place, followed by James Cummings and then Peter O'Connor and Chris Byron. What a colourful row 4 of the grid that was, by the way, as well. It looked absolutely awesome. It looked like a Nike tracksuit shop in the 90s. Just absolutely mega. You can see him just at the back there as well. Absolutely mingling together.
The Nike tracksuit with a pocket full of fruit polos. Those as well. Goodness me, this is delirious. Yeah, here as well as Chris Byron on the back of Peter O'Connor, the 888. Leading in the AM class by 3 positions from Fausto Pinto in the Dembski Pinto racing machine. Old hairpin, one of these cars, so cool. Carrying loads more, because you think, it's a GT car, you can't carry that much corner speed, but these are really as close to as a prototype you'll get. It is a prototype that looks like a GT car, basically.
Yeah.
As the lots of elevation change here at Donington Park is a really cool combination. It's a shame we didn't see it in the real world when this car was competing. A wet race at Donington Park. Wow, that would have been exciting. Paul Riga's having to look back now to James Cummings. This is your battle for the podium, as they're now, already 3 seconds behind the leading pair.
Well, Elia's just lost the 2 places, actually. I think out of Coppice, he got it all wrong and lit up the rears, and he had to back out of it. Here we go. Going through Coppice, past the apex. Oh, look at that. He's just run wide. He's very lucky that didn't completely rotate on him there. And the other 2 C freebies, and off they go. I was just looking a bit further down the order. Austin Greatorex is making his way back up now. He's just overtaken Carl Hazelton for 20th place. But before that, Carl was the biggest mover in the field. He's gained 9 spots so far from 29th on the grid. Mark Elvin has gained 8 spots as well. There's a number of them in the middle that have gained sort of 6 or 8. Fausto Pinto, he's broken into the top 10 by gaining 8 positions. So he's having a fantastic time as Fausto. Just on Tuesday night, when he was racing in the GT4s, I was complimenting how well Fausto had improved since the first time I saw him on my screen when he started sim racing, and he continues to impress us. It's great improvement. But then again, Peter, not to sort of wee on the bonfire slightly for Fausto, but so many of these drivers have come on incredibly strong since that first race here at Donington.
No doubt, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was. We did have flashbacks of that at Watkins Glen last week, but no such problem this week, which is much better. Yeah, coming back to Greatorex, of course, he had a disastrous start to the race 1 2 weeks ago at Watkins Glen and involved in another incident, but did manage to fight his way back into the top 20 and got a reverse grid pole and used it to full effect to win the race. But this time he's got it. Yeah, he's up into that split now. He's 19th, so that would, if he can maintain that position or climb up, he should get a good grid position for race 2 and be able to kind of make up for those lost points. So Saruta was pulled up a bit of an advantage from Cullen, who now sits in a fairly lonely second position, 1.8 seconds behind our leader Saruta, but 4 seconds ahead of Paul Regan. I tell you what, Saruta, he was quick last week. Again, this didn't quite go his way in race 1 and had to fight back. But I tell you what, he is on it here today. He means business.
Yeah, he's really flying, isn't he? Now he's taken that lead. He has not looked back at all. And, well, he's off over the horizon. A move going on here, though. This is Amrit Sashdev. And he is just going past Oliver Carwady. Now, Oliver's got Mark Elvin and then Austin Greatorex behind as well. It's a very interesting train in the middle of the pack, this. There's about 6 or 7 of them all glued together. Drew Fletcher's just up the road from this. As there, down the inside goes Austin. Wow, lovely move on Mark Elvin. Mark tried to squeeze into the inside and not give him the room. Austin's overdone it, though. He's gone wide and now just in front. Carwadine's back down the inside of Sashdev. Austin Greatorex now under pressure from Heinz Meyer, who's going to go through on the inside. Is he at Coppice? No, he's not. Great battling in the mid-pack, though. Always awesome entertainment with these guys. Wow.
I think that was really good eyes up driving there from Mark Elvin in the Dirty Mankini car, because I think he was very perceptive there. He saw Greatorex coming and he saw that it was going to be difficult for Austin Greatorex to pull the car up in time, so he held back, gave him the room and actually cut back and regained the position as well. So really eyes up driving there from Mark Elvin, 16th place overall and 6th in the AM class at the moment. As Kershaw dropping down the order, what's happened to Stephen Kershaw? There he is in the factory colours, the white, red and black. Just a little bit of a slip there for Stephen Kershaw, and he drops back to 14th position.
Yeah, it's easy to do into that final hairpin there. Let's have a look. Is he going to get a hit, though, from the car behind?
Behind him.
Or late on the brakes. And yeah, there was contact. I was trying to think. I think it was, yeah. Oh, and as he gets back onto the racing line, there was. Yeah, it was Legends Racing Mark Johnson that just gave him a little bit of a tap there, unfortunately. He's in a different livery to last week, actually. I think last time out he was in a Stars and Stripes livery, if I remember correctly. It was mainly white. There he is. And he's now running, well, it looks more like the sort of Gulf colours, doesn't it, really?
Yeah.
The black sections on it.
Yeah, it is Gulf colours and running the 44 of Magnus Racing. Yeah, that's very cool there with the Gulf livery. It's kind of like the Davidoff McLaren F1 GTR actually. It's with the Gulf colours in the background. Also notice that Stephen Kershaw, he's actually flipped his livery, so it is the works colours as to the naked eye, but if you look closer, it's got the pink pig chops on it. So it's the works black, red and white, but if you look just on the kind of haunches of the car, you can see a pink pig stripe. See it with the cut red? Yes. Yeah, that's very original. I like that. Yeah, it's a little subtle hint, but that's very cool.
Wait, hang on, Peter.
Hold on.
Is it?
Yes. It's got the pink pig chop just on top of the red.
Ah, right, okay, on the red bit. I was looking on the white bit on the side. I was thinking, no, they're the LEDs to give us the top 3 places. But no, you're absolutely right, Pete. I'm sorry I ever doubted that. But yeah, still epic stuff by Stephen Kershaw. And that's the thing, some of these guys are so creative. They really are. Wasn't it Stephen that was running the... Who was it in the... Oh no, it's Andrew Shepherd in the Scuderia Chicken House car.
Chicken House.
I still think that's one of the best things we've seen in the championship. And it's a great looking car as well. That's the thing, it may be a bit of a jokey livery, but my god, it looks stunning. And so does this as well. On board now on the left hand side is Stephen Kershaw's machine, number 247. He's actually now back in the position that he started the race after that debacle.
Yeah, what can we call that? We've got the pink pig, we'll call it maybe the Percy pig. Oh, spin number 5. That's Danny Jones, the Haribo Bear. Oh, the ward of the confectionery. Oh, who's that off?
Drew Fletcher's in there, I believe,
Drew
with him.
Fletcher. Oh dear, and he's got big damage to the rear of that car. That's been pushed in quite significantly. So let's have a look then. So Danny Jones in the white and green machine, and they nearly make contact on the way down to the chicane, the foggy chicane, and it's hard to tell whether Danny had started spinning by that point or whether it was sort of a combination of the two, but either way, it's a big mess, and 3 cars take damage.
Yeah, I think Mark Johnson was the car that got caught up in that as well and hit the back of Drew Fletcher's machine. I was going to make the pun that Drew went absolutely flying in for landing, but don't think that one worked. Yeah, just contact between the pair, but look at that double helping there for Mark Johnson. And whoa, someone trying to grab freebies there. That was Stephen Kershaw, I believe, with his Lego counterpart right in front of him as Austin Greatorex. So well, it was all a bit messy there.
Yeah, Greatorex has made his way up into 11th position. That's a fantastic recovery after that incident at turn 1. So Greatorex putting in a brilliant pace. His best lap 125.5, so 124.8, excuse me. So yeah, running kind of just off the podium pace. But Christian Tsuruta, his pace is really in a bit of exclusive club of 2, as Johnny Cullen's actually pulled a couple of tenths out of Tsuruta over the last few laps. So this isn't really a big draft circuit here at Donington Park. There isn't many straights, so the draft doesn't really make much of a difference. You've got to get quite close to the car in front and get a run. And getting that run down into the foggy chicane and then down at the Melbourne hairpin is a really good place to try and get that move done as well. But you've got to be close. So Cullen's still got work to do. 3 minutes and 13 seconds to go. Now, here's the question. You've got to make sure... We're going to see how many laps we've got left. Oh, Johnson's off again. Oh, it's managed to keep it out the wall, but it's a costly amount of time in the gravel as he tumbles down the order. Can he stay in that top 20? It's going to be close. At the moment, no. He's gone behind Carl Hazelton, who at the moment is in the pole position for race 2.
Just did it on his own, didn't he? Unfortunately, Mark just missed his braking point. Maybe affected by the damage on the front left of the car, and that time round it caught him off guard. But as you rightly said there, Peter, Carl Hazelton now moves up into 20th place. Great reward as well for the fact that he started down in 29th and he's worked his way up the order. Only Mark Elvin has gained the same number of positions up into 14th place, so 2 of them going very, very well. Back up to the podium battle though. This is Paul Rieger trying to hold off James Cummings for 3rd position. Behind them in the background there you can see Johnny Elia and Chris Byram getting all friendly with one another. But we've only got, this lap and then 1 more to go. So they're running out of time now if they're going to settle this. But, well, it looks like Paul Rieger's got some great pace on him round here at Donington tonight. We know that Paul's really quick, but he's showing just excellent consistency tonight to stay ahead of James Cummings, who has a bit of a wobble on the way into the old hairpin. They look great round there, though, don't they? They do still look very planted at all points.
Oh yeah, it's just got such grip, this RSR from the aero, that yeah, you really are carrying big corner speed in the car. As you say, it is a lot more busy in the car, but they do look a lot more tied down. So it's going to be very tight. I think we will just be, I think we're going to see the white flag at the net. Yes, we will. It will be the white flag when Christian Tsuruta comes up to the line. His gap is hovering around a second, so he's controlled this gap very well. Is Cullen close enough to try and put any kind of move on Tsuruta? He's certainly keeping him under pressure, that's for sure. The gap has come down by about half a second the last 2 laps. But on to the last lap then here, race 1 of 2 here at Donington Park for round 2 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship, live on RaceSpotTV. Tsuruta leads by 0.8 of a second. I tell you what, Chaz, Cullen's getting closer.
He certainly is.
Put him under the cosh.
He's starting to reel him in. And I don't know if Tsuruta's going to be affected by that. It's very easy to just drive and check your mirrors all the time. Look at the relative. Oh, we've got cars off on the exit of the hairpin. That's Andrew Parker. And is that Mark Elvin? It is. Mark Elvin had gained so many spots. He's just dropped outside the top 20 with that. And so too has Andrew Parker. The 2 of them dropping down. Drew Fletcher's now had a moment as well and dropped back down again. Oh no, Andrew Parker, I think, ironically, has parked it. I think he's just pulled over. Or is he... Where is that? That's out of the final hairpin. That's way off, isn't it? And yeah, he's going into the pits. That's that for him.
No, that's not good news. Not good news. Well, Tsuruta coming up to the Melbourne hairpin for the final time. He's managed this gap beautifully. Cullen has got closer, but he hasn't let it bother him too much, or certainly not showed any signs of stress up towards the final corner at Goddard's. and it will be a win for Christian Tsuruta here in race 1 at Donington Park. What a drive there from the man in the flying bogey. And Cullen going past. Now apparently, Chaz, there is a message on the roof for us, specifically us,
yes,
of the flying bogey, and we didn't see it last time out, and Christian was and Connery's drone is going to follow it, so we're going to see exactly what it is. I did see it saying pick it, so I assume the second part of the sentence is flick it, but we'll see. I honestly can't see though on the roof of the car. Our producer Connery I can see is that
hey.
Yeah, we'll get it.
I hope it says flick. I hope it definitely says flick.
Pick it. No.
Oh.
This is your live pick it. Pick it, lick it, flick it.
Phenomenal. Thank you, Christian.
Yes.
Thank you indeed.
Excellent.
Well, I'm glad that eye's got a dot on the top of it, because from space that might have looked different from a further camera angle. So thanks for saving us our blushes there, Connery. To be fair, it could have just said anything like sod off, Chaz and Peter. It could have been absolutely anything.
Yeah, pick it, lick it, flick it.
I like that. Well, he definitely picked his moment to go down the inside. He flicked it in, and then, well, he told Johnny to lick it, and off he absolutely went. Awesome drive by Tsuruta, and a real stamp of authority on the championship once again. That will now put him in the championship lead.
Well, indeed. So, Christian Tsuruta, your winner then by 3/4 of a second from Johnny Cullen, with Paul Riga rounding out the podium. Then it was James Cummings, Johnny Elia, and Chris Bardham. Pete O'Connor was your winner in the AM class, 7th overall, but just 2 positions ahead of Fausto Pinto in the Dempsey Proton Pinto Racing machine. Paul Goffin rounds out the top 10. 11th was Austin Greatorex. Great recovery from him, with Oliver Carwadine in 12th. Stephen Kershaw coming home in 13th, with Heinz Meyer 14th, and Amrik Sashdev rounding out the top 15. Then it was Tom Slater, Rob Sharp, Carl Hazelton, Ralph Meyer, and Mark Elvin in the Dirty Mankini will start on pole position for race number 2. Finishing 21st was Gilles Gardner, followed by Danny Jones, Drew Fletcher, Mark Johnson, Andrew Shepherd, David Patching, Kim Such, Byron Crawford, Andrew Parker, and Andrew Marston not making it to the flag. Very uncharacteristic of the former driver of the Pink Pig. So, just a few minutes of warm-up for the drivers to get ready for this 25-minute feature after that 15-minute sprint race. Pretty routine there for Christian Tsuruta, Chaz. He made it look easy, but I'm sure it wasn't.
No, absolutely not. I mean, he still has to wrangle this incredible car around this circuit for that long, and we all know that is not easy whatsoever. And I've just seen in the Discord that Chris Byram has said, I've just done an Alex Espargaro, and I thought it ended 1 lap earlier than it did. I backed off on the straight and then realised it was the white flag. So he gave away a few places there. Eventually, though, he finished in... Oh, actually, no, it's just changed on my screen. Actually, now we're in the next session, so it doesn't say where he finished, but it looked like it was about 20th, 21st, actually.
Oh no!
On the screen that it's on now, but I'm pretty sure he finished a lot higher than that. Anyway, into warm up we go though, and yeah,
Lynn Carlton.
Yeah, that was a much more chilled race than we had at Watkins. Still the odd incident and bit of drama here and there, but only about as much as we'd usually see, I'd say.
There's been nuclear conflicts that were calmer than last year's first race at at Watkins Glen. It was Armageddon. So well, it's very very much. I think the drivers came out of last week with a lot of bruises, and they've definitely all been better behaved today. That's for certain. Christian Tsuruta looking really good, but coming through from 20th. I mean, particularly here at Donington Park, there's not the drafting opportunities that you get at Watkins Glen, especially on the layout we used 2 weeks ago without the chicanes. Here, Chaz, it's not going to be as easy for Cullen and Tsuruta to make their way through the pack.
No, absolutely not, and it's much more of a driver's circuit as Donington Park. You know, you've got to have such commitment around here to carry the corner speed that we've been seeing these drivers carry through places like this here, down the Craner curves, in towards the old hairpin, even through somewhere like McLean's and Coppice. You know, Coppice is a blind apex when you're going up to it, and in a car like this, at a corner like Coppice especially, where if you run that tiny bit wide on the exit, it's one of the most unforgiving corners in the UK if you make a mistake up there, because it still curves away from the apex you were originally trying to hit, and it tightens as well. So if you do clip that grass a tiny bit, you're either going to go around, have a massive spin, you're either going to then ricochet off to the left-hand side and end up in the barrier, or you're going to then spin to the right and come across the front of the other traffic as well and get caught up in a very nasty incident. Coppice is such an underrated corner in my opinion, and it's something that the drivers need not take lightly, and especially this final section down the hill here. I think the hairpin caught a few drivers out in that first race hard on the brakes. So there's so many challenges around here. I always seem to think that Donington, for some reason in my head, lives there as this sort of innocent and easily underestimated circuit, because I love the place. I think it's phenomenal. There's an airport nearby, so I can watch planes while watching cars. It's basically heaven on earth.
It's Disneyland for you, yeah.
It really is. Honestly, when I was in the commentary box last time, I had my face pressed up against the window staring at Ryanair.
You're like, ooh, a 737. I mean, down to turn 1 they go.
Yeah. Every car was number 737.
Oh, well, not kill it. If you like bridges, you can see all 3 of the Forth bridges.
Wow.
So if you're a bridge fan, then it's you've got cars and bridges. Oh, and the Beatson's Bridge as well, of course. Not forgetting. Right, let's see how they line up then for this 25-minute feature race here at Donington Park for Season 6 of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. Brought to you by Midas Simulations and Porsche Centre Chester. If you're in the market for new sim equipment, make sure you go onto Midas Simulation and have a look at their website. Mark Elvin will start in pole position alongside Ralph Meyer, with Carl Hazelton, Rob Sharp, Tom Slater and Amrik Sashdev rounding out the top 6. Then it's Heinz Meyer, Stephen Kershaw, Oliver Carradine, Austin Greatorex, Paul Goffin and Fausto Pinto rounding out row 6. Then it's Stuart Clark, Pete O'Connor, Chris Byram, Johnny Elia, James Cummings and Paul Riga. Then it's Johnny Cullen and our Race 1 winner, Christian Saruta, followed by Gilles Gardner, Danny Jones, and the last few drivers making up our 30-car grid. They're a keen bunch, they're ready to go, they're installed into their 911 RSRs, ready to drop the clutch and race for 25 minutes here at Donington Park. Off we go. Good start there from Mark Elvin in the Dirty Mankini. He's got Carl Hazelton right behind him, who covers off the inside line from Rob Sharp and Tom Slater's. Elvin gives a big, heavy shoulder bars to Ralph Mayer. He doesn't mind a jot and moves into the lead. So Ralph Mayer hits the front here as they go down Craner Cars, with Elvin right behind him, and Rob Sharp has got up into third. Oh no, indeed. Beth.
Well, not just that, but there's a car stationary in the middle of the road up there as well, and I can tell you it's James Cummings. He's around. There was other cars off as well. Johnny Elia, Paul Goffin, Mark Johnson involved in that also, and I think Andrew Marston. We've also got Ralph Mayer off. Ralph Mayer has gone off from the lead of the race, up at the top of the hill, and he's up at Coppice. He's still off the road. Oh, there's another car involved as well. Who's that dropping down? Hazelton's off. Flipping heck, no one wants to lead. It's like Monaco.
Oh, it is. This is incredible. Has someone dropped some Petro Canada oil? I think they maybe have. Right, let's get a look then. So, Ralph Mayer coming down Craner curves as well. All the melee is going to happen behind, but let's see what happens as they all go through Craner curves. You just need to put one thing on the grass, and there you go. Side swipe there, and it's all arms and elbows. Kershaw off there as they head up towards through Schwant's curve and up towards McLean. There's cars off everywhere. Heinzmeyer off, and Ralph May just runs. He just misses his braking point, and I think he'll maybe locked up a little bit, Chaz. And Hazelton spins at Coppice. You can just see the rear coming around there just as they went out of shot. And Saruta in the flying bogey, he's made up huge amounts of positions there. He's up into 12th, made up 8 spots on the first lap.
I've got him up in 7th at the minute. He's really flown.
My timing screen froze. Yes, 7th. Goodness me. Oh dear. And Andrew Marston's machine with a bent rear wing, that's not good. As there's a lot of deformed rear wing form an orderly queue at the Porsche Parks truck. So Rob Sharp into the lead then in the silver, red, blue machine, the almost Sunoco coloured machine, is Greatorex. Great start. He's made the most of his grid position, starting 12th, a little bit ahead of our top finishers from last race. Tom Slater's right there behind him. don't write him off as well in that green and gold machine. He's always fast. And Henrik Sashdev, good start as well in 4th. But Peter O'Connor has managed to get into 6th position there as well. So making the most of his grid spot as well.
We've
Good
just had
stuff.
Danny. Sorry, Peter. We just had Danny Jones go off the road as well. He's just lost a few places and recovered at the chicane. God, he's going to hate that chicane by the end of tonight. I was looking at the positions gained, and Andrew Parker has actually gained the most spots in the field. 16 places from 29th on the grid, and he's just outside of the top 10 and 13th. Here's what happened to Danny Jones, though. Down to the chicane. Is it going to be an innocent spin on his own, which is way too easy to do here? Oh, it bobbles one way then the other, and it just goes around on the weight transfer. Horrible thing to do, but he keeps it out of the wall, which is the main thing. One thing I was going to point out a moment ago is Rob Sharp's pace, really. I mean, he's been doing a solid job. He was only 3/10 slower than Austin on that previous lap. As around goes Carl Hazelton again. There you go, I've remembered what it was now. Rob Sharp, sorry, he's been improving so much in everything I've seen him racing, and he's getting quicker and quicker all the time. It's no surprise he's in the pro class for this season, but also someone that has moved up to the pro class is Byron Crawford. He's having a nightmare of a night, to be honest, Peter. He's had so many spins so far, and he's down in 25th place in this race. He's a reigning AM champion as well, if I remember rightly. No, from 2 seasons ago he was the champion.
Hazelton just hits the curb on the inside of Redgate, and that spins him around. Now, what's happened to the Rusty Rose car of Stuart Clark, who at the moment is 5th in the Pro Class Championship coming into this round. Coming through Schwantz, curving up towards McLean's, no problem. Up towards Coppice.
Oh no.
Oh no, indeed. Oh dear.
We could see it coming a
Heinz
mile off.
Meyer was a lap down there, I think. Oh dear.
That's Mark Johnson getting into him. Mark seems to have a knack for getting caught up in incidents ahead of him, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's not going to
that
bode
was
well
clumsy
for him.
there.
Sorry, it
I
wasn't
think
Mark.
Heinz Meyer was pulling out and trying to let him by, and then didn't really get the job finished, unfortunately. Oh, who was that in front of the huge half spin, but hung on to it as Johnson managed
It wasn't Mark. It was my error. Apologies. It wasn't Mark at all. That was a big no-no, a big boo-boo from me, that one. There was another light blue car in front, and another car off, even at the side of the road there. Was that Amrit?
That was Parker. No, it was Parker in the Rothmans machine.
Too many liveries have changed from last season.
I know that. I think everyone's in a different livery as well.
They are.
We don't even have Andrew Marston in the pink pig. I mean, the world is upside down. It really is. We need to make him an SRM coloured pig. So it's not a pink pig, it's a yellow, black and white pig. You have to use your imagination.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, Rob Sharp leads, but Groston Greatorex has pulled the gap down. It's now only 0.3 of a second. In fact, it's less than that. You don't need a timing screen there, just a car length or two back to Greatorex. Although, they do have a decent gap back to Tom Slater in 3rd, who has his mirrors full of Christian Saruta. So, depending how long Saruta takes to get past Slater, Sharp and Greatorex have got a great opportunity here to try and make a breakaway. Greatorex just sitting it on the rev limiter there in 4th, rather than going up to 5th and then straight back down again.
What a noise.
Oh, it's glorious. Absolutely glorious. And the steering wheel in this car, this is the RSR 17, it was slightly updated for the RSR 19, and they've taken that steering wheel, made a few little changes to it, and it's actually in the new Porsche 963 GTP car.
Oh wow.
The prototype. So it's, that sort of RSR yoke has made its way into the very top level.
I really like that. I was going to mention that you said before Tom Slater's mirrors are full. I think his inbox is going to be full of telling off from Bernie, because he's not got the Series decal layer on the car, unfortunately. He's lost a place to Christian Sarita. And look at that. Rob Sharp says, on you go, sunshine. On you go. He's like, I know you're quicker than me. Let's not hold each other up and fight too hard here. Look at that. Was sideways as you like through there. Bad look of it by Greatorex as the very colourful brigade makes its way towards us. Amrik Sashdev, Johnny Cullen and Peter O'Connor. But yeah, Rob Sharp being very clever there. And, well, he just lets Austin go, and he doesn't want to fight him too hard. It's all for the bigger picture right now, and that was a strong and clever move in my eyes.
Totally agree. Yeah, totally agree. If you just got to be realistic with what your pace is, and if you believe the car behind is much quicker, don't waste your own time and compromise your own result. As O'Connor goes very deep into
East Midlands Airport.
Yeah, that was nearly the East Midlands Airport, into the rental car, queue there. got to take 3 buses to get there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, but Cullen does get through on Sashdev as well. He hasn't been able to cut through the traffic quite as crisply as Tsuruta has, but he's got the pace, certainly, to match Tsuruta's. We saw it was very tightly matched in race 1. Yes, Tsuruta got the win, but on pace, there was not really much to separate them at all. 17 minutes to go. There's plenty time left in this race for moves to be done. Austin Greatorex won race 2 weeks ago. Can he do the double here as well? Maybe that's going to be his signature this season, Chaz. He's going to race 1's maybe going to go a bit pear-shaped, and then gets a good grid spot in race 2 and gets the win in race 2.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've had drivers with certain sort of themes to their race weekends or race evenings, let's say. Ryan Parkins was just a theme that he won everything. But then again, it could work that way. I mean, if he has a bit of a recovery drive in the first one, starts just outside of or finishes just outside the top 10, maybe even just inside it, start the second race ahead of all of your main rivals, and then, yeah, make the most of it and disappear off up the road. He's got just under 2 seconds over Rob Sharp at the moment. It's just about to tick over 2 seconds now, but he's still got about 3 seconds over Tsuruta as Amrit Sashdev runs very wide into the final corner. Now side by side with him is Peter O'Connor. This is the battle for the AM lead, let's not forget, so very important here to get that class victory, and we've seen Amrit get a couple of them before. We've had some great interviews with Amrit. He's a lovely bloke, but you can see now he's a little bit rattled here, isn't he, by O'Connor, and unsurprisingly, Peter has shown that he's got the pace to be right at the front of that AM class all the time, but we know Amrit's going to do a very good job of defending this. We've seen some awesome drives from him. We
have, and we do owe him an interview. We had a slight technical misunderstanding last time out, so we do owe him an interview as well. So don't worry, Amo, come in and see us, and we'll have a chat. But he's doing a good. You can just notice the change in body language from Amrit Sashdev. The pro drivers didn't give them too much of a hard time because he doesn't need to race against them. But whereas this is a battle for class position, and Sashdev making that RSR even wider than it already is, they've got to keep an eye on Oliver Carbadine behind, who is in the pro class, but if he shuffles them out a little bit, then Fausto Pinto in the Dempsey Pinto racing car. Oh, Riga's off. What happened to Paul Riga there? Oh, there's damage on the front.
Big damage on the front. That's Elvin.
Trying to get by Mark Elvin.
Oh no.
Oh, Biff.
Oh
dear.
Oh, double Biff.
Ouch.
That was
Cummings.
Cummings.
And his big suspension damage there.
Oh, he's going to be fuming with that one. I mean, I'm surprised that Cummings went into them. He had a long time to react to it. To be fair, I think he would have expected them to have rolled off the circuit by then, but they just came to a very abrupt stop, didn't they?
They did, yeah, they did, and there was nothing much Cummings could do there, I would say. Right on the racing line on the exit of the corner too.
Yeah.
So Paul Riga's rotten luck continues. He had a disastrous round 1 and podium in race 1 here, but race 2 not going to plan. But get back to the pit, put the fast repair on, and just try and pick up as many points as you can. And they all add up at the end of the season. Battle going on now between Slater and Tsuruta for 4th position, and we know that Slater does not roll over for anybody. As I say that, Cullen goes right around the outside of him. Wow. So I'll just be quiet. Goodness me. Great move there from Cullen. Really good move. He had to have the guts to go for that, and that was a great move. Well set up. And Slater tried to cover the defensive line, but then I think when he saw Cullen going for it, he thought, well, I'm gonna have to let him have that. That's great stuff. He's come along past the museum collection, side by side, and I think he sees he's going to outbrake him and has to back out of it there, does Slater.
I can only apologise for the noise I made when that happened, because that was just such a glorious move by Johnny Cullen. And look at that, he's disappeared off up the road now, but the guts that it had to cut across like that as well, because, well within his right, Tom Slater could have said, no, you know what, I'm going to brake as late as I dare, I'm going to make it too wide here. And he didn't. Fair play to him. It was great to watch, but my lord, that was lovely. There was a lot of smoke there on our screen for a moment as we made our way down the crane, as I don't know quite who's been off the road, but we've got this battle on our screens now. Amrit Sashdev still holding off Peter O'Connor for the AM class lead, and it's great entertainment as ever. It's hard actually to always remember that we've got 2 classes in this. Oh no, slowdown penalty there for Oliver Carwadine, I think. He backed out of it.
And that's released Pinto, so we've got a 3-car battle for the for the AM class lead, and O'Connor's just got to try and remain calm here as well. He's clearly got the overspeed on Sashdev, but he's got to make the move clean, because Sashdev is going to defend it with his life here. Oh, as Pinto goes a little bit wide, trying to just push a little bit too far on into the chicane, and Sashdev again covering the inside line. Can he get it stopped? Yes, he can, but O'Connor's got a great overspeed, but there's an RSR in the way. So Sashdev really defending well, not giving O'Connor a whiff. Does O'Connor have a look at the inside? No. He's just trying to set up the run. Sashdev a little wide. They're going to come together in the exit? No. Sashdev is hanging on by his fingernails here to 6th overall and top of the AM class. But he's got just under 12 minutes to hang on to this. He's got a bit deep again into Redgate. I know Connor's going to try and carry this speed, but again, the road is just too narrow to get a run. As they come down Craner curves, O'Connor thinking, how am I going to get past Amric? Sashdev a little bit better on the brakes there as well, but here comes O'Connor earlier on the power. Underneath the bridge they go, up towards Schwartz curve. Going to have to use the bravery of Kevin Schwartz to try and get past here into McLean's. And does Sashdev get it pulled down? Yes, he does. O'Connor feeling a little bit ragged there as well, and Pinto's not far behind them. Sashdev he's really driving it in hard there, Chaz. Wow.
Well, he likes his golf, so he's certainly got the driver out now, not the 9-iron. He's really on it. And look at this, all over the back of him, O'Connor. But I feel O'Connor's braking a lot earlier than he normally would here to make sure that he doesn't go in the back of him. Off. Tom Slater off at the chicane. And, well, I don't think he was near anybody, so that will have been on his own. He really does. Luckily, there's no water for him to fall into that's accessible here. That's
a one-shot penalty for that. So, and he goes, this is a bounty curb one, yeah. It just shows you when the cars have got great aerodynamic grip, but if you upset that aerodynamic contact, basically, or suction into the ground, then it can really catch you out. You've got to be ready for it. Sashdev, this is some great defensive driving, able to keep O'Connor behind and at bay, and Fausto Pinto, there he is in the Dempsey Pinto machine, right there, and there to catalyse if anything were to happen. Sashdev covering inside line. It shows you here how difficult it is to pass at Donington. You can really position your car in a place where it makes it very difficult for the following car to get by. Looking at their best lap times so far, for Sashdev, it's a 1 minute and 25.7. It's a 1:24.7 for Peter O'Connor. So there is a second difference in the favour of O'Connor in their ultimate lap time, yet Sashdev continues to hold the position. And you think, Chaz, if he can not make a mistake, it's a big ask, but if Amric cannot make any mistakes, he's found a way to cover that line no matter what O'Connor does.
Yeah, he's doing an absolutely remarkable job as Amric Sashdev, and it's working for him now because O'Connor's going to get backed up into Fausto Pinto here. The four of them are only covered, and that's the three of them behind as well. They're only covered by about 1.6 seconds, so it is really, really close. And Peter O'Connor finds himself in that horrible scenario none of us want to be in, where you have to compromise your own pace to not run into the back of the car in front while trying to attack it, while trying to defend from the car behind. Oliver Carwadine's in a bit of a tough spot here as well, because he's got 3 AMs that he doesn't really want to fight too hard in front, but he's going to be thinking, well, why should I wait for them to get on with what they're doing? I said hang on a moment ago, because once this sort of chills out a little bit, could we potentially look again at Tom Slater's car? Because I don't think it says Jameson on the side of that car. I think it says Thomason on the side of that car, which I think is a wonderful little twist. And again, another fun livery. Yeah. Oh, here comes O'Connor, though.
Traffic now. This is going to play a factor for sure. This is O'Connor's chance. Not exactly sure. I think it's Heinz Meyer's car who they're coming up to lap here. It's one of the Meyers anyway. They've got quite a similar livery. So Sashdev is really going to try and negotiate this traffic well, and great respect there.
Is it Gilles Gardner?
It's Gilles Gardner, yes, excuse me. Great respect there from Gilles to allow the leading cars through. So it has upset this battle. 8 minutes to go. At the front, Greatorex is actually pulling away from Saruta. He took 0.3 of a second out of Saruta last time by. So even though Saruta's in clean air, well, Greatorex is the man with the pace. Once again, Austin doing the job in race 2.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Really is good fun to watch as well, isn't it, to see these guys. There is definitely the pace difference we can see, but like you say, it's having to make the overtake and get ahead. That's what makes it really, really exciting. Right now, though, we just had a quick look there at some of the drivers in the front of the field. Austin Greatorex leads this race by 3.8 seconds over Christian Saruta. Johnny Cullen is then only 2.7 seconds behind him again, so still top three. Very, very fast drivers, and of course, getting closer and closer together once again. But this AM battle is amazing. Rob Sharp seems quite safe right now. He's 15.8 seconds ahead of this. So Amric is really becoming, and I hate the praise, the cork in the bottle at the moment. As look at that. Round the outside now, Peter O'Connor gets the run. Is he down the inside far enough to squeeze through at McLean's? Amric doesn't really leave the room, and O'Connor's got no other option. He was already down the inside. Amric tried as hard as he could to defend that for as long as he could, but then Pinto gets the freebie and through to second place.
Yeah, it was just that one tiny blip there. Sashdev leaving a little bit of the door open, and yeah, O'Connor was always going to go for it. There was room to fit the car through there, and yeah, it was always going to be a firm move. And yeah, Sashdev has to drop back to third in AM class then as well. A firm move, but the door was open, and O'Connor took it. And that does bring Fausto Pinto into the reckoning as well. And oh, it's the Dirty Mankinis off into the boondocks. Oh dear. So Mark Elvin dropping down the order then. What happened to him? He's already got damage on the front of the car. That won't help matters.
Is that lap traffic as well?
Yeah.
Or is that... No, would that have been for position?
Kershaw behind him in the works pig.
That was Crawford going past, I think.
Yeah.
That was for position. Apologies to Mark for assuming that that was lap traffic. But yeah, has just one of those horrible moments where once you run wide out of copies, it's like there's a magnet on the outside fence, as Charlie Cox once said.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's the camber of it is really nasty. So O'Connor leads in AM, but Pinto is really rallying. It's almost as if Pinto was just kind of holding a kind of safe distance there from O'Connor and Sashdev, perhaps expecting some sort of collision, and he's waited for his opportunity, and he is right behind O'Connor there as well, close enough to just get a slither of a draft down the very short back straight here. But tell you what, Pinto, he's got one of my votes for the prettiest livery in the championship. It's a great twist on the Dempsey Proton, the Dempsey Pinto. So there's McDreamy. What is he?
Oh,
McSnoozy.
Oh, absolutely is. Absolutely is, Peter. I do agree though. I think it's definitely one of the most gorgeous cars on the grid, and he's got the spec map right as well, so it's got that metallic property to it. So it's not just a standard glossy version of it. You know, you can see the metallics working away on that gorgeous blue.
All about that spec map.
Oh yeah, always the spec maps. I think that especially since iRacing have adopted the newer sort of format to these spec maps, you can have metallics now that don't look like they're made of really shiny sandpaper. You know, you can have that clear coat gloss over the top of them, so they get that sort of metallic shine underneath, but they still look like a smooth surface now, like it's been properly lacquered, and it has just changed so subtly but so beautifully as well. And now a lot of the effects that people are getting are really, really brilliant. And to be fair to iRacing as well, the switchover process from having the spec maps how they used to be to how they are now, it wasn't a massive pain in the backside. And that, like 80% of people did the spec maps in the same sort of way, so it wasn't a nightmare to implement. Here's James Cummings, who despite his massive contact earlier is going well. Johnny Elia inside the top 10 as well, but I've got to think that damage to the front of that bright orange machine is not going to be helping it at a time like now, is it? He really is going to be struggling with that.
Yeah, it seems so. You just saw Elia able to even get a bit of a run going on that very short run out of Coppice down toward the foggy chicane. And yeah, it looks like it may be a matter of time here for Johnny Elia, but you've got to be fair to James Cummings, if he can get a car looking like that, hold him in the top 10, that's a result. That's a real result in the circumstances. And there are, throughout the course of this championship, there is going to be calamities, there is going to be bruising encounters, and you've just got to try and make the most out of every single race, maximise every single race. It was Gilles de Ferran that says it's to win a championship, it's all about getting a good result even when you're having a terrible day. That's the key to winning a championship. And well, Austin Greatorex, it didn't go his way in race 1, but it's certainly going his way in race 2. He's managing the gap beautifully from Saruta. It's sort of stayed solid around just over 3 seconds, Only 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock in this race. So Austin Greatorex in a great position here to win 2 feature races on the trot here in the 6th season of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. And we've seen Austin come on the podium in the championship standing so many times, Chaz. Almost every season he's been there, but hasn't quite got that championship win yet. But could this be the season, do you think, where Greatorex mounts that challenge perhaps?
It absolutely could be. Yeah, I think he's certainly in with a shout of doing it. I mean, after the first round of the championship, after the first race meeting, he was only 7 points off Carl Sharkey, who's not here this evening. So he was only 5 points off Saruta going into it, as there's a lovely move by Johnny Elia down the inside of James Cummings. They remain side by side, though. James gets the run and the slingshot by being on the outside on the exit of the corner. Johnny keeps his car down the inside. James runs a little bit deep, tries to give him the room. Nearly contact on the exit from splitter to diffuser. But somehow they both managed to make it out of the corner alive. We've got Mark Johnson and Stuart Clark in the background still battling away. But look, the top end speed, even down a short straight like this one here at Donington Park when you're going uphill, still a problem. As off in front of them is that Gilles Gardner having a bit of a debacle, I believe.
That's Amric,
it is.
I think. Is it?
I will find out for you. No, it was Gilles Gardner. It was Gilles.
Okay.
They are in similar liveries as the Myers were that you mentioned before, actually. But I think there's a bit less there's less white marks and splitters and bits on Gilles' car. As still these pair fight. This is a very fierce battle, actually, isn't it? Great defensive work by James Cummings there.
Yeah, very, very good stuff from James Cummings. He's left the door wide open there as well. Is Elia going to take it? No. So Cummings still confident in his braking, that's for sure. Still confident that he can hold Elia off. And yeah, the Calippo has definitely had a bit snapped off it. It's melted and flopped onto the floor. Nobody wants a melty Calippo, that's for sure. A little bit of melting's fine because it makes it easier to consume, but yes, that's very much a damaged Calippo there. Oh, bit deep there. And Elia, oh, a bit deep there for... Oh, a little jink there from Cummings, and Elia didn't quite get it done, but he's going to go for the cutback here. Cummings nice. Covers it off, lovely.
Yeah, that was beautifully done, well judged. And you know what, fair play to Elia, because how many times, Peter, have you and I both seen the driver behind in that situation drive straight through the back of the other car like it's not there? It's so easy to do it, and it's such a... there's too many expletives, basically, for it, but there's so many words that you could call people that do that, and Johnny backed out of it. But someone that's not backing out is Austin Greatorex. Number 13's unlucky for some, mate. But I'll tell you what, he's had a great start to his season when it comes to the feature races anyway. He just needs to get a bit more luck in those first races, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, for sure. This has been a quality drive from Austin Greatorex. Unlike Watkins Glen, he wasn't starting from the front this time. He was starting from the 6th row of the grid. But Greatorex has come through and is going to win the feature race here at Donington Park with Saruta in his wheel tracks there as well. So it's a win and a 2nd place for Saruta. That will move him into the Pro Championship lead as Johnny Cullen comes home in 3rd. Meanwhile, the battle for the AM class is for 5th overall, and Fausto Pinto is going to take this down to the wire here. Going to try and get a move done on Peter O'Connor. Maybe not quite close enough, but can O'Connor tie it down? Oh, bit of a lock-up, bit of a mistake. Can Pinto gas it up early? He's going to try and make a run, but no, it's going to be O'Connor just. But once again, the AM class goes down to the wire. Pete O'Connor wins from Fausto Pinto, and Amric Shashdev going to get a class podium as well. So we definitely owe him an interview now. And Cummings, that could be my drive of the day, actually, do you know, Chaz, to carry a car with that level of damage home in 9th place. Brilliant stuff. As they're still going on, battling over 13th position. Tom Slater holds on to 13th from Byron Crawford and Stephen Kershaw.
It was amazing there just to see the cars out of the final corner, because they all got held up so much. You suddenly saw the back end squat down when they selected another gear and planted their foot to the floor. The car really did boot itself to the floor. Here's the Sim Racing Magazine team just about to cross the line. Andrew Marston ahead of Paul Goffin. Team SRM makes its way around the final corner. The two of them are going to be teaming up in the Daytona Classic as well, I believe. And a lovely shot as the two of them cross the line there. And, well, Johnny Cullen got another podium out of that one. He's going to be happy for the championship points, especially after he only got 16 in the first round of the series. But there's so many different drivers that could take championship leads and lose them again round after round here, Peter. It's a nice close championship point system as well. So I think that's going to keep us on our toes throughout the entire championship.
You bet it is. You bet. Well, Austin Greatorex, 2 wins from 2 in the feature races so far this season. He wins by 2.1 seconds from the new championship leader, Christian Cerruta. Then it's Jolly Cullen getting another podium here in 3rd. Rob Sharp, good run from him to come home in 4th. And Peter O'Connor defends to pick up 5th overall and top of the AM class. Great drive from Fausto Pinto as well. And Amrik Sashdev, he defended as hard as he possibly could, but still got an AM class podium and 7th overall. Great run for Amrik. Oliver Carbadine, James Cummings and Johnny Elia round out the top 10. Then it's Mark Johnson, Stuart Clark, Tom Slater, Byron Crawford and Stephen Kershaw, followed by Chris Byram, Danny Jones, Mark Elvin, Kim Such and Andrew Shepherd rounds out the top 20. Then it's Carl Hazelton, followed by Andrew Marston and Paul Goffin, followed by Gilles Gardner, Drew Fletcher, Ralph Meyer and Heinz Meyer, with Paul Riga, Andrew Parker and David Patching not making it to the flag. Well, what a day here at Donington Park, and we have a plethora of drivers to come and have a chat with us. Well, why don't we have a chat with our Race 2 winner, Austin Greatorex, who's with Chaz Draycott.
I'll drag him in now, shall I? And here he is. Austin, you must be absolutely over the moon with that one, mate. It wasn't quite the first race that you would have been looking for, not even the first corner that you would have been looking for, but still, to come away with another feature race win tonight really helps the championship out, doesn't it?
Hello guys, welcome to a new season. Yeah, it helped, but it's 2 weeks in a row I've won the feature from the sprint race not going so well, so I need to do well in both.
Absolutely, yeah. I was just saying at the end of the race there that we just hope that that luck comes your way, because it'd be more interesting, obviously, to see what you can do given a clean run at one of those sprint races. Talk to us about Donington Park though, because it's such a high-speed circuit round here. It looked really difficult to keep this car in line tonight because the commitment level needed here is huge, isn't it?
Oh, I love this track. For me, it's the best track in the UK, so I felt quite comfortable.
Apart
And
from
yes, yeah, debatable, Peter. But no, you have to be so committed, and it's so on the edge everywhere, especially through the chicane. I know you did mention it at one point, Chaz, when I went through the Fogarty S's, but so committed. And then the Melbourne Loop, it's so easy to lock up with the obviously downslope.
Well, it's certainly a challenging circuit, because when you see it on paper, you don't think it's not that bad. But when you see the elevation changes that get added in, they really do make all the difference. And even through that chicane that you mentioned, there's a big elevation change there, isn't there? You go on the brakes and it dives downhill, but then on the second part, there's a crest as you go through the right, isn't there?
Definitely, and you could have a nice little slide through there, multiple laps in a row, which I thought, I'm pushing this too much, so we'll just pull it back down and just chilled. So the last half of that race was kind of just keep it on the black stuff. We don't want to ruin this race as well as the first race.
And what's your sort of confidence like going into the rest of the season then? 2 feature race wins, like we said, though, not for the best of circumstances in the first race. Are you feeling confident for the next one?
Yeah, I'm feeling confident. It's an endurance race, which is a bit more of my thing. I just need a bit more seat time in the RSR. Basically, the 2 races is all I've driven it since probably a year or 2 ago, and it stopped being an official car. So no, we just need more seat time.
Well, it was great fun to watch either way, Austin. Always a pleasure to speak to you as well. And thanks very much for joining us. We hope to see you next time round.
Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Cheers, you too, mate. There we go then.
Austin Greatorex, our Race 2 winner. He's in fine spirits, and rightly so. Why don't we get a Race 1 winner in for a chat? Christian Cerruta, new championship leader, who we'll have a chat with in a moment. Christian, welcome to the RaceSpotTV commentary box. A fairly good night at the office, I would say, all told. What do you think?
Evening, gents. Yeah, it wasn't bad, was it?
And was the strategy to pick it, lick it, and flick it? Was that what really got you to the top step of the podium today?
Yeah, I think that's always the strategy, Peter. It's that's all. That's the only strategy I've got.
No, I've heard from my sources, my paddock sources, Christian, that you've been putting in quite a bit of practice for this season. Are you aiming for that crown after being a front-running pace since joining the championship? Is this the season to get the big crown?
I've not done that much. I just like the car. I just seem to get on with it a lot better than I did with the Cup car. It's easier to flick it,
Is it more like your street steeds, the RS? Is that what it is?
I don't know. I mean, I mean, they're both pretty wild, but the street one's purple, obviously. So that one, it'd be a bit weird to flick that one.
But if your bogies are that colour, you should visit a doctor.
Exactly.
I'll stop eating as much
I'm
beetroot.
going to stop with the bogey stuff now because it's getting ridiculous.
Well, once you'll have noticed once you start Chaz and I on something, we don't really let go of these things. We wring a gag out as far as it can, far as it can go. Final question: Sebring in 2 weeks' time. I mean, this car round Sebring, win, draw or loss, that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, it should be fun. Like I say, I'm really enjoying this car versus the other one. I seem to be a bit more consistent in it. So bring it on to the next one.
Excellent. Well done on the win today, Christian, and congratulations on the championship lead as well. Well done.
Cheers, boys. See you later.
So Christian Saruta, our championship leader. I think we owe Amo an interview, don't we, Chaz? We missed him last week. Let's get him in and hear how on earth he defended for so long. Over to you.
Hello, gents.
Amo, I
can't believe you forgot. I'm knackered, honestly. I'm absolutely drained.
I'm not surprised, mate. That looked like a real workout, that race. But you must be really pleased with it, though, regardless, because you still got your podium, and it was still a lot of fun, I imagine, behind the wheel.
Anyway, forget all that. What about my win last week?
Well, straight.
And you didn't even talk to me. I was waiting in the booth for you, and you stood me up like a pair of kippers.
We're really sorry, Amo. We really are.
That's all right, mate. I was talking to Peter in the booth before I came on, and I mean, honestly, it was such hard work. I didn't think I was trying my hardest because I know what a tough track it is to overtake on, and the problem is I ended up driving too defensively. I was losing about a second a lap on what I should have been doing, but the problem is you can't make a mistake because you know that if you do, he's just going to go whizzing past you. But it was tough. It was tough. And once he got past, I didn't think I was going to catch him. I was hoping Fausto might have punted him off so I could have finished first.
That's meant to be your inside voice, Amrit. You're not supposed to admit that.
No, I told him that in the booth as well. So, but it was good driving. It was good driving. I really enjoyed it, actually.
Connery can edit that out, don't worry.
Connery can take that one out in the post show. Amrit, how's your on track driving's pretty good. How's your on course driving going at the moment?
Yeah, really good. I've got about 10 track days coming up. I've got the Ring, Spa, Zandvoort, Zolder, Silverstone, Brands Hatch. I've done quite a few with Austin. We did Spa last year with him. He's doing Zolder and Zandvoort with us. And I think there's about 6 or 7 of us doing Spa in November with Open Track, if I can mention it. I think Andrew Soper's come in, Ollie's come in, Chris Wynn's coming. So it's actually really good. And believe it or not, it actually helps in the sim. So the sim helps the real life. And I think the real life definitely helps the sim as well.
I hope you're getting all these brake pads changed at Porsche Centre Chester.
No, I'm definitely not going Porsche Centre Chester because I don't want to be ripped off.
Series sponsor, Amo, for goodness sake.
I know.
There'll be no more interviews. There'll be no more interviews if you don't behave.
Tell him to send me a set of brake pads in the post. That was a joke, by the way, gents.
Carl is going to be watching this, going, if that's all the thanks I get, that's.
I know. Well, Carl needs to know how to get out the way because he didn't get out the way last week. Then he nearly lost me the race.
He's going to be on the phone now. Can't increase the markup.
Yeah,
cancel his allocation for another GT3. Cancel it.
Yeah,
cancel it.
I wish.
Well, entertaining as ever, eh?
As always, Amrit. Well, next time you've got to say nice things about the sponsor, Amo. Otherwise, I will do. Interviews. You promise?
Yeah, I will do. Actually, Matthew Dorrington at my desk is fantastic.
Oh, for goodness sake. Right. That's it. You should go away and have a good long think about what you've just said, Amo. Congratulations on the podium and everything, but best behaviour next time.
I will do. Thank you, gents.
Well done.
Good to speak to you again.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, he's getting sassy, isn't he, Chaz?
I'm in absolute bits.
We've got time for one more. Chaz, you pick.
let's get Rob Sharp.
Okay,
Rob
off you go.
Sharp. We'll bring Rob in. Rob, that the start of the race, of course, into the back of the car in front wasn't ideal, but you certainly had a much better second race, mate, holding on in 4th place there. And, well, you were in your own sort of postcode by the end of it, really. Nobody really messing up the race for you, nobody around. It was all just very controlled. It was looked like a nice day out.
Yeah. The second race was great. You know, I don't have the pace of the guys in front. I mean, there's just no point in fighting them. All that'll happen is I'll come off. And the start of it's just, it's just fact. So sorry if that's not entertaining, but I'm just trying to keep it together. And at the start of the first race, when the flag dropped, Andrew in front just didn't move, and I tried to avoid him, but I clipped him, and that was, I've apologized, to him on the chat and things. So I took a drive through for that, but then that kind of worked in my favor for the second race as I started near the front. So all in all, disappointing start to the first one, but I'm very, very, very happy with the second race.
Well, after I saw your GT4 Porsche in this livery, I didn't think that any of the other cars could look much better, but we're watching the slow-mo shots of this RSR right now, and it's a gorgeous-looking machine. It must be a hell of a lot of fun to jump in this, though, from the GT4 into this one night on the trot between the two. It's a different kettle of fish, to say the least, isn't it?
It's a completely different kettle of fish. Absolutely. It's a very different car. I was saying last night to the guys on not last week, 2 weeks ago after the last race, which was a disaster, that I just don't have a feel for this car, but it's coming, I suppose, slowly. But you're right, it's very different from a GT4. It's way more pointy. GT4 is like a sort of like a barge compared to this thing.
Yeah, you've got to write it a letter to get to an apex, haven't you? The GT4
yeah, you've really got to plan your apexes. This, it just points and it goes, and it's a very different driving style, I think.
Well, he certainly wrangled it well tonight, Rob. It was a lot of fun to watch you, mate, and of course, good for the championship, strong points. Are you confident going into the next one?
No, not at all. And I had that attitude tonight, and it seemed to work. So I'm gonna stay not confident and try not to be bothered, and we'll see what happens. Mind you, it's Sebring, and Sebring's good, and it's an hour-long endurance race. So and I'm kind of used to them in the SRM league. So maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it'll end up like yesterday's race in the GC4. Who knows?
Well, we never know, Rob, but either way, it's going to be great to watch, I imagine, and it's also awesome to speak to you again. Thank you very much for joining us, mate, and we'll see you at Sebring.
Thanks, Chaz. Cheers now.
Cheers. He's such a lovely bloke, is Rob. I absolutely love interviewing him. He's always got such a great attitude towards it and a great outlook on it. And that's the thing with these drivers, isn't it, Peter? They don't have to go through the arduous stress of all the physical attributes that you get in real racing. You can still get out of the sim, just enjoy yourself, and automatically you're just there at home and in your own environment again, back in comfort. And you can sort of sense that a lot of the time, can't you, with the positive vibes we get from these great, great people.
Oh, we do. Yeah, we got so many characters in the Porsche Club of Great Britain. We always have since very much the season 1. We're already on to season 6 now, of course, and we'll have the next round for you from Sebring International Raceway in 2 weeks' time. Same time again here on RaceSpotTV, 8 p.m. GMT. With a huge thank you to our sponsors, Porsche Centre Chester and MyDAS Simulations. Be sure to check both of those out if you're in the market for a new Porsche or indeed some equipment for your sim rig. From us all here at RaceSpotTV, from myself, Peter Mackay, from my co-commentator Chaz Draco and our producer Conry Maddock, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Good night.